Coach, would you start us out talking a little bit about Michigan State? I mean, where are you as a basketball program in terms of your preparations for that game? I mean, finals have kind of put a crimp in that, I would guess, at least a little bit.
Well, we had I think it's 10 days from our last game in between, so we took a couple of days off, and the finals fell really pretty good. We can get normal practices in, so this is our third day of practices today, and then we'll take tomorrow off, and then we have 3 days to really focus on Michigan State. We've really been just focusing on us.
When you say you're focusing on us, what kinds of things are you doing there? I mean, basics, specifics?
We've been working on offense a decent amount. You know, we feel like, you know, that's an area of growth for us, execution, and a little bit of tempo, you know, being able to, because really the teams we played compared to Michigan State, those teams, you know, didn't get up and down as much as Michigan State would try to. So transition-wise, we've been working on that. And we got some guys back practicing, like Javon and Anthony have practiced. Spencer is getting in more practices because he had the broken rib, so getting those guys up to speed. So, but we, you know, we still work. We do a little bit of everything. So, but we watched some film on Michigan State yesterday. We'll watch a little bit today, and then when we start practices after these finals start Saturday, we'll focus more on them. But there's really no mystery to how they play and what they do.
Do you expect to see any sense of heightened excitement maybe from the guys who are from Michigan playing Michigan State? But really, Austin's kind of laid back, so you might not.
But Austin, I mean, we played them. This is the third time Austin's played Michigan State, so I'm sure, you know, any Michigan person that's from Michigan will be excited to play Michigan State. You know, you hope you guys get excited for every game, but you know, the reality of it is, some games, I think they, you know, kind of jump out at you a little more as a player than others, and this is one of those games. But really, between Austin and Spencer, I don't know if we have another Michigan guy right now. But yeah, I mean, for everybody, I mean, I think for all our players, I think, you know, the opportunity to play Michigan State at home is an exciting opportunity.
Coach, would you talk a little more about that? I mean, it's one thing to play Michigan State there last year in front of their crowd. Will you talk a little bit about what it means to the program to be able to play them in your place?
Oh, I think it's great. You know, great opportunity for our guys, for the university, for, you know, the fans. You know, getting in your gym on your home court. I'm hoping some students that don't live too far away come back, you know, at break and come to the game. You know, but it doesn't always happen. You know, most of the time you have to go play at the Michigan States of the world. You know, but you get an opportunity to get them playing at home. I think it is a special thing, special opportunity.
You mentioned Clark and Henderson. Are you expecting them to be available and play in that game?
Yeah, I hope all hands on deck. You know, I think by then they don't re-injure themselves. They should be able to play. Anthony's not 100% yet. Javon, you know, he missed a decent amount of practice, his conditioning, and Spencer again just playing. So I expect to have everybody healthy down the road.
Were they, with these practices the last few days, were they practicing, or were they kind of in, or halfway, or?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about injuries. No, they've been in. They've been doing what they can, and hopefully they'll do more as time goes on.
You mentioned scouting yourself on offense, really working on your offense. Has it been a concern of you and the other coaches about working so long through the shot clock that sometimes you're rushing shots at the end, like you're in the final 5 seconds and still something hasn't developed? Has that been a major concern?
You know what? We say you know when you're playing, you have to take the first good shot. You know, especially when you're playing a team like Michigan State. You know, you may not get 5 good shots in a possession. You know, you may have to take the first. You may have to be ready to take the first or second good shot, but without taking a rushed, bad shot. You know, you run offense to get certain shots in your offense, and when you get those shots, you got to be ready to shoot them and knock them down. But for us, we try to play inside out. I think for us, if you look at percentage-wise, the more baskets you get, the more shots you get around the basket, generally the higher percentage you shoot. So, that's what we emphasize. But, getting a good shot doesn't always mean a shot around the basket, because you got to score over bigger people. So when you run an offense, you run a play to get a shot, and if you get that shot, you got to be ready to shoot it and knock it down.
Have some of the guys been a bit reluctant to take that first good shot?
You know what? I think the more you see the ball go in the basket, the more confident you are, and sometimes that works, both ways. Sometimes the less you see the ball go in the basket, but you got to keep taking good shots. And I think against certain teams, you have to, you want to go into the shot clock, because you basically, you don't want to get into a track meet with a team that maybe you don't have the firepower right now to compete with. So it's a balancing act, but Jack, you asked me about the late shot clock situations. It's a balancing act. You can get a good shot 12 seconds in the shot clock. If you miss, then that gives the other team a chance to go on offense. So you got to balance it, but sometimes you wait until the last 10 seconds and you get a worse shot. So it's a balancing act. But we got, when we have Jordan Crawford, that's one of the benefits of having him late in the shot clock. He's a guy that can create opportunities, where, sometimes, you don't always have that. But we just want to continue to improve our execution and get good shots. And eventually they'll fall.
Talk about how BG matches up physically with the Michigan State team.
Up until a couple of games ago, they have been starting their 2 big guys, Nix and Payne. The last couple of games, they've been starting Dawson at the 4, and one of those guys, Nix, and then Payne and Nix play a little bit together. So for us, it's dependent on lineups, but overall, I think we match up pretty well. You look at their team, and there's always certain things that jump out at you. The first thing to me is when I look at their stats, they're plus 10 on the boards. They've been out rebounding their opponents by 10 rebounds a game, and that's a lot. And that's something that Coach Izzo preaches, is rebounding. Offensive and defensive rebound. So, and then you look at them in transition, and you see how quickly they go from defense to offense, whether it's a miss or a make. They're putting pressure on you. They're pushing the ball. They're posting in transition. They're hitting head to their wings to try to get to the basket. And that's a constant that you got to deal with. So you can't afford to turn the ball over, because they're really good at getting points off turnovers. So you got to, those are things you got to deal with, regardless of what the personnel dictates. So, those are Michigan State's. To me, that's their identity, is things they do well year in, year out.
Is there any advantage to having played them last year? I mean, they're
no question. The last 2 years. And if you look at, for us, it's been a matter of 2 halves. It's been a tale of 2 halves. I mean, the two games we played last year, it was a 2-point game. They went up 2 on 2 free throws late in the first half. And, you know, I think it was maybe 35, 33, something like that. And then the year before, it was like a 3-point game at half. You know, the second half, especially the first 5 or 7 minutes of the half, have been the difference in the game a lot of times. So, you know, the first half, you want to encourage you guys because we have played. We played even with them for the most part. You know, so you just you got to play for 40 minutes and play well and do what you do.
Got anything else? All right.